So then for us vinyl lovers, once again, it was a pretty expensive year. So hello and yes, welcome back to another video, guys. Now yeah, this is another one of those videos where I'm just going to be talking about everything that I purchased in 2018. This is always a pretty big video for me. I'm going to try and go quick because there is a huge stack of records here. But before we get started, of course, wanted to say first off, Happy New Year. This is the first video I'm uploading in 2019. Yay! Let's hope it went a bit better in 2018, hey? Saying that, 2018 wasn't an awful year. But of course, it was a pretty obscure year, I think we can all agree. But nevertheless, Happy New Year to you all. I hope you had a fantastic New Year's Eve. I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually filming this before New Year's Eve, which is today for me, filming it. So, yeah, hopefully it won't be too much of a messy one. But nevertheless, I hope you all had a good time and a Happy New Year to you all. But this is going to be very similar to my last video where I ranked my albums that I purchased in 2018. So before we get started, guys, because there's a few people, and I never ever want to address people who give me naff comments, but I am actually going to address them here. It's one of the first times I'm actually addressing them. I apologise if I don't pick up everything. Number one, I don't have time to listen to everything. Number two, I can't afford to pick up every vinyl release because I know some people are going to be like, where's the White Album 50th? Well, guess what? I couldn't afford it. So I didn't pick it up. But nevertheless, you know, I try to buy stuff I know I'm going to like as well. In terms of new releases, especially studio albums, hint at some people in my last video, I couldn't pick everything. There weren't much in terms of people who I listened to who released albums last year. So, you know, there's not loads of new studio albums in this pile. Nevertheless, there's a big pile of records here. So, we've got a lot to go over. They're in no particular order, really. Kind of somewhat alphabetical order. But nevertheless, let's get started. We'll go through these pretty quick. So first up on the top of my pile is Joe Bonamassa. So here it is. Here is his new studio album, Redemption. This is on a double yellow vinyl. And if you guys saw my last video, you know I love this video. This album. It's a double album, yellow vinyl. My album of the year. Loved it. Okay, next up, again, Joe Bonamassa. This is one of his only live album. From 2018, British Blues Explosion, which I personally loved because he covered blues songs which I know and love on here, including a couple Clapton ones. This is also on a triple vinyl. One is white, one is red, and one is blue. Of course, the Union Jack colours. So it's a nice coloured vinyl set there again for Joe. And I have one more Joe Bonamassa album here to show, and that is Black Coffee, which is the studio album I forgot to put in my ranking. Yeah, I had someone actually mention this album in the comments. I was like, oh crap, I forgot to put this in the ranking. Because I actually really like this album. This would have probably gone just below Paul Weller, I'm thinking. So it would have been fourth. So yeah, anyway, I messed up not putting this one in here. I remember looking over it on my shelf and thought it was a live album, just because the cover looks like a live album. But nevertheless, I really enjoyed this album. This is Joe Bonamassa on guitar and Beth Hart doing the singing. Also on a colour vinyl. This is red vinyl, 2 LP set. And that is it for Joe Bonamassa. Now these next four I haven't shown on the channel yet, but I'm going to do a complete video on her probably in a week or two. That's Kate Bush. So I got this for Christmas off my wonderful parents, which I'll show this more in the Kate Bush video and talk about it more in my next final update as well. So you'll see plenty of these Kate Bush records. So don't worry, I'm going to brush over them here though, because I've got so much to show. This is 50 Words for Snow, which I got for Christmas off my brilliant parents. I bought this one myself after Christmas, the director's cut. And this was just to get complete. I also got this for Christmas, Ariel, you know, as most people know, this incredibly rare record. And all three of them are 2 LP sets with little books, which are nice. I've also picked this up in 2018, the Red Shoes, which is 2 LPs, no book though. And it's the only Kate Bush record I have yet to hear. I've actually heard all the rest. And then the Sensual World, Kate Bush reissue as well, which was fantastic. I love this record so much. This was amazing. That's only a single LP. Okay, Clapton, only one release. Well, no, two technically, but only one proper release. Happy Xmas, the Christmas album. Yep, it was alright for what it was. You know, it is what it is. You guys saw it in my last video. You saw me talk about the music, so there's not really too much for me to go over there. In terms of the Electric Light Orchestra, again, not much from them this year. I've heard rumours that there's a new Jeff studio album coming out in 2019. So when I do my predictions video for 2019, I'll definitely be sure to bring that up. But nevertheless, we did get this from Jeff this year, which I really enjoyed. This is the 2 LP set of how he originally wanted Secret Messages to look. For those of you, you know, I can compare it to the Red Rose Speedway reissue that came out this year, which we'll get to. There was another big reissue campaign going on this year with the Eurythmics. I have originals of all the Eurythmics, however their last album, Peace, this is the first time this has been put on vinyl. So very, very excited to own this on vinyl, and it has also got me complete on the Eurythmics. I'm not doing a Eurythmics video just yet because I figure I'm probably going to want to get Annie Lennox solo stuff as well on vinyl, just before I do the video, because some of her rare stuff has been made accessible as well with reissues, so fingers crossed we'll be able to do that one at some point in 2019. That's just a single LP, that one. Fleetwood Mac have had a couple records out this year. Very disappointing for those of you who have seen me talk about these. Very cheaply made reissues. We've got Say You Will, which I'm very happy has come to vinyl because I love this album. But it's a very cheaply made record. There's no gatefold, it's a double LP set. Records are thin and not very good quality, and there's no gatefold. It's just a bit naff, really, considering it's such a good album. And then an even more loved album by most people. Personally, I was more excited for Say You Will, but the Dance live album, which people love, exactly the same problems, which is a real shame, because, you know, it's such a good listen, as is Say You Will. They're both such good listens, and it's a shame that they've been treated so poorly. But then on Record Store Day, we got the alternative Mirage, which I still have yet to play, I'm not going to lie. I have played the other two. Yep, just a single LP. You know, this one here is, you know, they didn't go too cheap with it because there's not much you can do with this really, because it's quite short actually compared to the original. Another new studio album which you guys saw me talk about in my last video, Imagine Dragons. This is Origins. Yeah, it's okay. As I said in the video, it's okay. Huge improvement over their last one, but still far from great. Another reissue line which have them this year. There's a lot of reissues this year, which is good because you know, there's a lot of old albums which are inaccessible, which I still really want to get. So reissue lines are fine with me. I'm a huge fan of Tom Chaplin and Keane. Of course, Keane's first album was reissued in 2017. Their last album, their fourth one, is accessible, as is Tom Chaplin's solo stuff. But Keane's middle two albums, Perfect Symmetry and Under the Iron Sea, are very hard to get on vinyl, so finally they reissued them. So here is Perfect Symmetry. These are just single vinyls, nothing to them. It's just nice to own them on vinyl because they're such good records. Especially this one. This is Under the Iron Sea, which is a fantastic album. I absolutely love it. So it's amazing to finally own this on vinyl. Next up here we got a little EP, a live EP from the Lone Bellow, a band I love. This is live at Grimmie's, yep, Grimmie's, baby. This is on a colour vinyl as well. It's like a purple splatter. Lone Bellow do have another EP out this year. Came out literally November, I think, but I'm still waiting for my copy to come in. So yeah. Now, in terms of Paul McCartney, Jesus, it was a fantastic year for Paul McCartney. The best year for Paul McCartney fans since I've been a fan. I've been a fan since about 2010. So I'd say this has been the best year for Paul in the last 10 years, potentially. We got a new studio album, of course, Egypt Station. Pretty good album. I didn't love it, but it was good. It was enjoyable enough. So yeah, very exciting. And then the reissue line was fantastic. So we got 4 new colour vinyls. New, which people always want to compare. I noticed even in my last video when I done my ranking, people always want to compare Egypt Station to New, even though they're very different sounding. But to throw my 2 cents in there, I prefer new. But that is the pink vinyl edition. And this here, I think, delighted so many McCartney fans. Chaos and Creation in the Backyard. This is on a gold vinyl. And again, if some of you do want to see these reissues in more detail, because McCartney is such an important part of most people's lives here who visit this channel, I always do videos on his releases. I got like 3 videos on Egypt Station. I've done a video all on these colour vinyls, and a video all on the archives, which I'm about to show as well. But we got the Blue Wings Greatest as well, which is really nice. And then another really cool one, a marble colour vinyl of Thrillington. And I absolutely loved Thrillington. I think that's a very underrated piece there in the McCartney catalogue. Moving on to the archives. This technically isn't an archive, I guess, but we got the reimagined Red Rose Speedway. This is, you know, kind of like the Secret Messages ELO one I showed earlier. This is how Paul originally wanted Red Rose Speedway to look. Well, not look maybe, because the artwork's pretty bland, but that's at least how the track listing was originally meant to go. And then we have, of course, the archive of Red Rose Speedway, a very underrated Wings album. I love it, I love it, I love it. And the bonus material on that is fantastic. And, of course, Wildlife, which I also really, really have come to enjoy a lot more since the reissue. And the bonus stuff on this one's okay. I love this picture of Paul. I always say it whenever I hold it up. Okay, got a couple new albums here. Before we move on to the soundtracks, we got Paul Simon, Into the Blue Light. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that one. And True Meanings by Mr. Paul Weller, which was a very, very good listen. I very much enjoyed that one. Okay, so now we got some soundtrack stuff, but then don't worry, we're going to come back to another couple box sets at the end, which are pretty exciting. So we got 2 compilations that come out this year of my 2 favourite composers for films. Hans Zimmer, this is the classics, which is nice because it covers a load of stuff which I didn't own on vinyl before. Like we've got on here, where am I looking? We've got Pirates of the Caribbean theme, which I don't own, Gladiator theme, Inception, Man of Steel. So yeah, Interstellar. There's some really good stuff on here which I actually don't own the soundtracks of, so it's a nice way just for me to get the main themes from some of my favourite films there. And then we also got one on John Williams, which, you know, we all know John Williams' music is fantastic. And of course they just do the obvious Star Wars, Jurassic Park, Harry Potter, Indiana, E.T., Schindler's List, Hook, Saving Private Ryan, Jaws and Superman. And as you can see there, it is a nice colour vinyl with a book. They've done a beautiful job on that one. Okay, I'm a massive, massive fan of this film, and the soundtrack to it is incredible. It's a jazz soundtrack, believe it or not. You might not remember it too well, for those of you who have seen the film, and if you haven't seen the film, I'm sure you'll be surprised to hear it's a jazz soundtrack, but I love it. The Incredibles, the first film, not the second one. Just fantastic music, really. I mean, honestly, you wouldn't believe it, and I don't think people remembered that the music is actually amazing in that film. I got the Mondo pressing of Hot Fuzz on vinyl. My favourite film of the year, A Star Is Born. Incredible soundtrack. I never ever thought I'd be raving about Lady Gaga. But you know what? Her acting in this is incredible. Her voice is unbelievable. And the songs are so damn catchy and fun. My favourite tracks on here are Black Eyes, which is sung, of course, by the fantastic Bradley Cooper. And of course, I love Shallow. It's a very, very good song. Yeah, so that's my favourite film of the year as well. Just for those of you who are interested in that. I've seen about 40 films this year, so that's saying a lot, I think. The score to Black Panther, Marvel's absolute knockout of the park film this year. I don't think they were expecting. I don't think anyone was expecting it to do as well as it did, but it did, and the soundtrack's very, very good. We got funny one here. We got the score to Deadpool 2. I just love this. Look at how funny it is. This one just brings me joy to own because I just love Deadpool. I think he's one of the funniest characters ever created. And of course, I think this year, when everyone went to the cinema, they were all hoping to have as good of a time as most people had during this film, Infinity War. The soundtrack as well. Not the best soundtrack ever, but it's good. It's good enough still. It's a very good soundtrack. I just had to own it because I was such a fan of this film and the build up to get to this film. And then we got a bit of a funny one here. We got Mamma Mia 2, Here We Go Again. Not a great film, but the soundtrack is still pretty fun. And you know what, the film isn't bad. I'm not saying it's bad, because I know people are going to jump on that, like, why are you slating on Mamma Mia 2? That was good as the first, but soundtrack's fun. They finally released Season 2 soundtrack of Game of Thrones, because in my collection I had Season 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, can I have 2 as well? So finally, I believe it was Barnes & Noble's put that out on a black vinyl. Also, this came out on Record Store Day. This is the soundtrack to the 270s, might have been late 60s, Doctor Who movies, starring... I can't think of his name, can't think of the actor's name. Grand Admiral Tarkin from A New Hope. Pete Cushing, there we go. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. Oh, God. And then, of course, on a double... That's on yellow vinyl as well, by the way. And this is on a double blue vinyl. The score to Blue Planet 2, which is a BBC series, which I absolutely loved. Narrated by David Attenborough. Hans Zimmer does the music. It's fantastic. So there's all the soundtracks as well. Now, to wrap this video up, to wrap up the incredible year of music I've had. Because even though, as I say, studio albums, it wasn't the most successful year for music for me. I shouldn't have to keep pointing that out, but nevertheless, I do. Record buying wise, it was fantastic. And to wrap it up, there were a couple box sets. There's a couple I wanted to get but didn't. And there was the Lindsey Buckingham one, which I didn't end up buying. And there was the Kate Bush one with like unreleased stuff, which I didn't end up buying. But I managed to get 2 here. We got a reissue of Complete Clapton, which is a really nice compilation on a double vinyl here. There's a couple songs which are unique to this, which you can't get anywhere else on vinyl at the minute. Sweet Home Chicago. If I Had Possession Over Judgment Day is another one. So there's a couple unique songs to this box. Also, unlike the original, this has a bonus 7-inch single in it, which is nice. And then the very final item I have to show is Tom Petty. Video will never be complete about Tom Petty. He's one of my very favourites. I always like to get something Tom Petty. He's just an incredible man. I miss him so much. This is American Treasure. This is some unreleased live recordings, early takes, and then they've whacked a couple studio songs on here as well. Again, got a whole video on this beautiful, beautiful box if you're interested. But yeah, that's my year of music there. There's been a lot, of course there has. There's always a lot. I've had a blast buying it all. It's been fantastic, incredible year of music. And now we get to look forward to 2019. Of course, I will have my annual video up in the next week or so where I say what I want to get out of 2019, what I'm hoping for in 2019. But nevertheless, those are all the records I have purchased that have come out in 2018. I apologise if I've missed some which people wanted me to get, because I know there's going to be a few, like the White Album 50th, Elvis Costello's new album was floating about in my last video a lot. People wanted me to get that, and unfortunately, you know, you just can't end up with everything, because I'm sure we're all aware. Although I think I've done a good job at getting stuff this year. They're all the ones that I wanted the most. I'm very pleased I've got them. Very grateful that I'm able to have these items. They're fantastic, and hey ho, I'm a very lucky person. I'm very happy to have them. But nevertheless, that is it for this video, guys. There's some more cool videos coming up on the channel soon. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please hit that subscribe button, like the video, leave a message. And for those of you who are interested in your films, I'm just going to quickly throw this out there. As I mentioned, I've seen about 40 films this year. In about 2 weeks' time or so on my movie channel, I'm going to be posting my ranking of my least to best films of the year. And that will be a lot more interesting than my music, if I'm being honest. So I'm going to leave a link to my other channel in the description below, so make sure you check that out if you're interested. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you guys next time for another video. Bye-bye.